tonight to ask you to watch over us as we go about our city business, our city meeting with the commissioners. Help watch over us as we go about our duties for the city of Ocoee. We ask you to watch out over the first responders in our city, that they do their everyday work that protects lives for us. We ask you to watch over us as we move forward in our year, moving towards the things that we have to do to keep our city running. In your name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Brinson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
Okay, proclamations. Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Somebody here from the University Board? Mr. Moore? Or Brad? Somebody? Scott? We got three here, so. All right, proclamation is, whereas Asian Americans of Pacific Islanders have enriched the history, society, and culture of the United States of America, including dying and risking their lives, building the first transcontinental railroad, initiating the United States first Wong Kim Ark, 1898. The landmark decision that has given birthright citizenship to the citizens, children of countless immigrants to the United States from all over the globe for over 120 years, and sacrificing their lives in defense of our country. And whereas in recognition of the significant contributions by Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the United States of America, the then President Jimmy Carter signed a bill into law in 1978 proclaiming the first 10 days of May 1979 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Week. And whereas then President George H.W. Bush signed a bill into law in 1990 extending the week-long celebration to an entire month, resulting in the official designation of the month of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander American Heritage Month, beginning in 1992, and requesting that future presidents issue a proclamation calling on the people of the United States to observe the month of May with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And whereas, in continuation of the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders' commitment to service to our country, the Federal Asian Pacific American Council has selected its 2022 theme for Asian American and Pacific Island Heritage Month to be Advancing Leaders Through Collaboration. And whereas the efforts, resilience, and contributions of the culturally and logistically diverse Asian, American, and Pacific Islander communities can be seen in every aspect of society in the United States, such as education, military, police, healthcare, economics, and science. And whereas the city of Ocoee recognizes the importance of inclusion and diversity in building a brighter future for all our residents, including our current and future Asian, American, and Pacific Islander citizens. And whereas the city of Ocoee is proud to have a diverse community that includes an Asian American and Pacific Islander population of over 3,300, which is 7% of our town. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rusty Johnson, Mayor of the City of Ocoee, Orange County, State of Florida, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2022 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. The diversity board members, if you want to come up and take this, I'll give you this, we'll take a picture. So, is somebody here to take it? We don't have a slab, so I'll just give you. We used to have somebody, what happened?
I'll go and take a picture.
Everybody come on up here, we'll get everybody.
Mayor, do you want to do
Yeah.
this one? This is the one that's gonna go in the lobby.
Oh,
You can-
you gonna keep that one?
There's
and this
10.
one will get to the.
Oh. We go to the lobby, we'll let you take that. Hold on.
I guess I'll go.
Everybody come on up.
Okay.
Come on, bro. Don't delay.
have a presentation by our Orange County Commissioner Christine Moore and Matt Sudmeyer. Yes, sir. All right, come on down. He's the manager of the Orange County Parks and Recreation. Where'd Christine go? She leave?
She ran out the door.
I'll go ahead
All right.
and get started, Mayor, while she went to go get her
Right
purse,
outside,
she said.
yeah.
So good evening, I'm Matt Sudmeyer. As the mayor said, nice to be here this evening, Mayor and Commissioners and the audience. I believe the presentation is, the Commissioner's Office loaded the presentation for Magnolia Park, sent it to y'all? No?
I didn't receive that.
I have, Lisa,
I got a jump drive.
you got a jerk drive?
Can we have some assistance out here for the audio visual?
While we're getting that set up, I'm Commissioner Christine Moore. I really wanted to come here today and bring Matt Sudemeyer, who is the head of our Parks and Rec Department. So all your wonderful West Orange Trail that goes through Ocoee, he's the one who is in charge and keeps that in pristine shape for you. Magnolia Park, my predecessor voted back in 2015 when the county had a little extra money to improve this park, and it's $4 million improvements. And so I've noticed over time that most people in Ocoee don't consider it their park. And I really wanted to come today to invite you to consider it your park and to make use of it. And so Matt is going to talk to you about all of the improvements and some of the offerings and see how we can work together to make it all of our park.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good evening, everyone, again. As the Commissioner said, I'm here to talk about Magnolia Park, but first I'd like to just give a quick overview of the Orange County Parks and Recreation Division, then we'll get into the park, and then I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. So to give a little bit of history, the Parks and Recreation Division was started back in 1973. In 1985, we became the Parks and Recreation Department. And today, we are known as the Parks and Recreation Division, Orange County Parks and Recreation Division. We offer a variety of programs and services throughout the county. We have 109 parks, 46 miles of trails. You all are familiar with, of course, the West Orange Trail that goes through Ocoee. We offer youth programs, youth recreation programs at our recreation centers, environmental programs at our 5 camping parks, and one of our environmental parks, our Tibbet Butler Nature Preserve. Historical programs, we have a variety of those that we offer at some of our older parks and some of our heritage parks, like Fort Christmas Park, Cypress Grove Park. Senior lifestyle programs, we have 2 major senior centers in Orange County. One is in downtown Orlando, the Mark Street Senior Center, and then one of our newer ones out in southeast Orange County, South Econ Community Park. And then, of course, our athletic programs, and then our variety of special events. So we have a very diverse need throughout the county and try and meet those needs by providing these diverse programs. This is an overview of the county's park system. We try and meet our level of service throughout the county and try and fill those gaps that we have in both recreation as well as park services. So the main purpose of the meeting here is to talk about the Magnolia Park improvements. Magnolia Park's located on the east shore of Lake Apopka, as I'm sure you all know. We are doing improvements on the lakeside, as the Commissioner stated. Those improvements include the Eco Education Center, which inside there will be our new park offices, a pavilion, a new restroom facility, brand new beautiful playground, of course the associated parking improvements, a Pollinator Garden, and I'll talk about each one of these, a boat dock and fishing pier right on Lake Apopka. The funding for this project was $3.5 million. With the design being an additional $600,000. And Commissioner Moore will tell you the park should have been open by now, as well as a lot of our patrons and a lot of other citizens. But unfortunately, we are in the same situation most are in when it comes to construction and supply chain issues and getting the materials in. So Some of these pictures you see are nothing is complete yet, but we're working on it as soon as the construction items come in, are shipped in. So here's kind of, Magnolia Park, as I said, is on the east shore. Up until now, it's just a real passive area. There's a pavilion there and a boat ramp, and that's it. This is kind of what it looks like. Before we started construction, we had a little volleyball court down there as well, and that was about it. This is the master plan that we've developed, and I'll get into each one of those improvements, but eventually we'll have a larger boat ramp as fishing becomes more popular on the lake, and that'll help accommodate our fishing pier that we've built, as well as our boat dock and those other amenities on that side of the park. The Eco Education Center, this is a picture of what it looks like now. Like I said, it'll consist of the park office. We'll do education programs in there. We'll have interpretive kiosks, interpretive signage, both inside and outside of the Eco Center. We're working closely with the Friends of Lake Apopka. It's just one organization that we're collaborating with and partnering with to help tell the story of Lake Apopka inside the building, so we're working closely with them. Another item that we're doing out on that side is the playground. Big, beautiful tot lot and 5 to 12-year-old playground with a beautiful shade. Again, this was one of the items we were waiting on. It actually just got delivered about a week ago. We've been waiting on that for many months, so we're excited that that's finally going in the ground. We have a pavilion. You can see here in this picture, we're waiting for that to be delivered. The steel, of course, is the manufacturing the steel to build it is delayed, but you can see the picnic tables and where the footers are for the pavilion, so that'll go there eventually. Then we have a restroom facility, not too exciting, but it's ADA accessible, a lot larger, a lot nicer facility compared to what we had out there, which was real small. You couldn't get in there in a wheelchair. Just, it was built probably in the 50s, 60s, long time ago. Then we have our Pollinator Garden that we're really excited about. We're working closely with the Bloom and Grow Garden Society, as well as the Florida Native Plant Society to plant a pollinator garden. This is the beds. You can see on the picture on the right-hand side or where all that's going. And we've really had a great partnership with these two organizations in developing that. And that will be going in real soon. We finally got the irrigation hooked up so we can start watering those plants once they're put in. And then we have the boat dock and fishing pier. This will be a great opportunity for boaters as well as those that don't have a boat or don't have the opportunity to get on a boat. They can certainly fish off of this dock and get out there and fish in those areas that the Fish and Wildlife Commission has done improvements to and planted aquatic vegetation and fish attractors and whatnot. And then that concludes my presentation, and myself and the commissioner are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Anything else to say, Christine? Commissioner?
I just want to make one addition. We are partnering with the Orange Audubon Society, and they will be providing docents and an educator to be at the facility 50% of the time. So the story of how the lake degraded, how the lake is improving, the Pollinator Garden, of course, they're quite up on birds, which we've celebrated many bird festivals out in that area. So also, when my predecessor had envisioned this, we had the bike rentals, which we're still going to have on the west side. So folks can come rent bikes and then ride around the Lake Apopka Loop Trail. The west side still has opportunity for 2 or 3 pavilions for birthday parties and whatnot. It's very well shaded. And so when we're ready for the ribbon cutting, I'd like to invite some of your residents and really start promoting this park on the north side so your folks have this opportunity. Too many people don't recognize and know that beautiful park, and it has quite a history, which we don't have time for tonight, Mayor, but it goes back into the 1960s with the vision of a commissioner who had saved the park. The lake was degrading quite a bit even at that time, but it was the historic landing, there's a marker there, Levels Landing, where goods were crossing from Winter Garden, Ocoee to Apopka. And it was Mr. William Lovell who owned that. He was also the first superintendent of Orange County Public Schools. So at that point, this commissioner the rest of them probably thought he's wasting his money in this lake that is dying in the 60s, and now we're till 2022 before we're seeing where we can really utilize it again. And it was the home of fish rodeos and all kinds of festivals, and it's just always paying me that Ocoee folks haven't used this park, because it's really yours to use as well. And we thank you for allowing us to speak tonight.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Anybody got any questions of the commission for Parks Recreation?
I guess I have so much of, well, I guess it's a comment as opposed to a question. I live about 5 minutes away from that park, so in a former life, when I was a youth football coach, we used to use that park to have our annual, end of year picnics. So I'm very familiar with the park, and I was driving over there about 2 weeks ago, and I saw the construction. So it's beautiful. So the pictures doesn't really give it justice. So if you get an opportunity, please go by there. You'll see exactly what they're talking about, and it is a very beautiful park. The other side of the other side of the street, is that also considered Magnolia as well? It's both sides, right? But the construction is only on the east side of the park. Is that correct?
That's correct. And there's camping, and
The west side. Yes.
and one thing we both forgot to mention, which is really exciting, you know how the trail is going to be extended down McCormick Road, up Binion, and over to the park. So Orange County government bought the property at that northwest side. We put 20 acres to extend the trail. So the accessibility for Ocoee will absolutely improve over the next couple of years.
I do have one more comment for Mr. Sudemeyer. Before you leave, I need to get your contact information. I would like to talk a little bit about some flashing lights along the trail on Clark and Clark on Ocoee Road, where the trail goes by the street there. Some flashing lights in front of there, as well as Arden Park North, which is about 100 yards just west of that. So if I can maybe get your contact information before you leave, I would like to talk to you a little bit about some safety equipment for the trail.
Absolutely. Be glad to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And can I get a better chair? Stand right here, like bumping over here. I feel like I'm on the floor. It keeps going down.
You gotta lose some weight. All right. We got two comment things. Really, it's supposed to be at the end of these two. I think we're gonna let Mr. Warren do his presentation. I think Mr. Warren, we got you as a prime time fellow promoter every week. It looks like every time. Just come on up. I'm gonna let you have 5 minutes.
I kind of know what I'm doing. Maybe. Just to make it big, right? And I just click to go on. My name's Jim Moyer. I live in Arden Park North. This is a quick presentation about Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, what it's not and what it is. Cinco de Mayo, the largest celebration of Cinco de Mayo in the world is in Los Angeles. It's not in Mexico. It's not Mexican Independence Day, which is September 16th. It's not the date of the Mexican Revolution, which is November 20th. It's not a Mexican national holiday. It's not celebrated throughout all of Mexico. It is celebrated in most of the United States. It is celebrated only in the state of Pueblo, Mexico. It's a major celebration in Los Angeles. It's an important day in U.S. Civil War history, and I'm going to expand upon that a moment. Mexico in the early 1860s owed a lot of money to European powers. England, France, Spain. The French decided that they were going to collect their money by taking over Mexico. which they eventually did. A lot of people don't realize that. They landed troops in Veracruz, Mexico. And on May 5th, 1862, on their way to Mexico City to take over the country, the underdog Mexicans, now France at the time was one of the most powerful military units in the world, but the underdog Mexicans and some free American slaves won at the first Battle of Pueblo. This threw France into a loop. They retreated back to Veracruz, and they didn't get reinforcements for another year. Now, why is this important? Well, a lot of the Mexicans, knowing France was coming, they went to California, a free state. And they celebrated this victory. Now, France was pro-Confederacy. The Confederacy was hoping to get at least supplies and equipment from France. If France had continued as anticipated and took over all of Mexico. Now, the Mexicans celebrated. The new Mexican Americans, you got to realize, about 15 years earlier, California and New Mexico and 8 other states were part of Mexico. So moving into California was no big deal. But they not only celebrated the victory at Pueblo, but they actually collected money to support the Union. They had little meetings and they collect $100 and everything and supported the Union. Historians, they believe, and in the beginning of the Civil War, the Confederacy probably was doing better than the North. And a lot of historians believe that if France had taken over Mexico, that the Confederacy would have won the American Civil War. And you can all imagine what might have happened, not only in the United States, but in Mexico had that happened. So I humbly submit that Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May, should not only be a way in which we celebrate the culture of Mexicans and Mexican Americans, but also the entire United States should celebrate what happened on May 5th, 1862 in Pueblo, Mexico. Thank you for the time, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Moyer. Appreciate it. All right, to go right along with that, I got some people here tonight. I want to bring them all up. Matter of fact, Jim, all of you and Ollie, come on up to the podium. You get up front, all of you, come up. I want to introduce you. Let you introduce yourself. We're working on with this downtown business association. We're going to have a group here, downtown businesses, and they're helping participate with the city. Mark, you're a group, you're a guy. You got any information on that also? So what it is I went down and met with them the other day, all the different businesses, and they're going to start. I think they have an association before Jim did. I think Jim. But I think this group is going to start another one. They're going to have it, Downtown Business Association, to be active in what we do downtown and get things going in different functions like we're going. I'll let you, who wants to be the spokesman to tell about Cinco de Mayo? All righty, come on up and introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dwayne Warren. I'm one of the owners of Toll Road Brewing on McKee. I have my business partner, David Strickland, my wife, Melissa, Nessa from Nessa's Barbecue, and of course, Jim. So, about 6 years ago, I stood up here before the commission trying to get permission and zoning to open our brewery. And now fast forward almost 6 years and we see all the growth downtown. We've got some great businesses that have just moved in, DG Donuts, Pelican Snowballs. So things are starting to come along, and we did our first block party, St. Patrick's Day, and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know if 10 people were gonna show up, and everybody showed up. It was a huge success. We got a lot of great feedback from the residents of the city, that they loved it. They'd like to see more of it, of the community coming together. So we are planning to do another block party for Cinco de Mayo. We'll be on the 6th, and won't be on the 5th, because 5th is on a Thursday. So we're gonna close the street down, we're gonna have the artisans market, some of the same things that we had last time. But we think it's a great thing for the city to continue to do these events, possibly once a quarter, and really bring the community together. So we're very excited and wanted to let you guys know what we're planning to do. And yes, we are resurrecting the Downtown Merchants Association, so we will all come together officially as businesses to help brainstorm and come up with ideas to grow the downtown area.
I appreciate it. I just want everybody to let everybody understand that you guys have done a great job down there trying to get this organized. And I think the city is, Mark Torrin and their group are working with you doing for the function. This posters, I don't know if y'all had one, but the Cinco de Mayo poster is a great thing to put out. We need to get that out.
Yes.
We need to get the city to put it out on the TV, Rob, for the next couple of weeks. So, any commissioners got any comments?
Do we need to make a motion to close the street?
Yeah. Well,
Second half
we
of
get,
Is
no,
that-
we don't do that. Martin and all that. They got the permit signed by
Okay,
everybody.
just one,
Yeah, they signed the permit.
okay, just so we get this straight out.
Anybody got any questions? I will say that the one back in the Irish
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day was a super thing. There was a lot of people down there. A lot of people make good comments. There was so many people, I think, to run out of food on pretty much around the place. So that's a good thing for the vendors. So I think Toll Road has been a great business down there. It's really come on. You guys have done a great job. I know the barbecue place has been at it. So Jim's still down there on that corner. Still pushing. You're gonna start selling hamburgers there or something, Jim. So we're looking forward to other things that can happen down in the downtown. So we'll make sure that we can have our publicity put out too, that what you're doing, if you get a hold of us and let us know. But I think it's a great thing to happen downtown with the different businesses. We've got people come in and bought the business, some of the buildings, and are really changing it around, and that's what we've been waiting on a long time. We got sewer running down there finally. We got
Yes.
sewer gonna be hooked up on the other side also. So that's one of the things you gotta have. We told people for years, we didn't have the sewer down there, and it's hard to get people to come in with restaurants and businesses without the sewer facilities. So we're getting there. We appreciate all your efforts and time, and we'll be there on the 6th. So whatever we can do to help, we'll do that.
Excellent.
So anything you need to let us know, or let go through the parks, and then we'll get it kicking.
We will do that.
All right?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, today officially, the Toll Road Brewing Company is hooked up on city sewer.
Amen.
So I want to thank all and this has been, I've been trying, probably for 50 years, I've been trying to get it downtown, so finally it's downtown. And I can only see what the future's going to be for.
Get rid of them buckets now.
No, get rid of the buckets. Throw those buckets away, Dwayne. We don't need those anymore. So all the support that the city's had and helped us get that sewer down there, we want to thank you
I
very
will
much.
tell you, and I told you guys the other day at the little meeting we had, before I moved to Florida, I used to come stay with my grandmother, and we'd walk from Ruiz Street up downtown. There was a little candy store and general store there, and she'd always bring me down there and buy stuff before we went fishing down in Deep Lake.
Right.
That is still looks like downtown. Whether you have a 1 block, 2 blocks, or 3 blocks, it doesn't matter. It's still our downtown, and we want it to survive and thrive. So that's what we want to work towards.
Yep.
We want to help you get there. You spending the money, you guys are spending the money to be in that place. We want to be a big partner to help you out.
And we, the businesses and I personally, we would definitely appreciate it, okay?
Yes, sir, Reed. We're
Okay.
looking forward to it. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, staff comments.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
All right. Public, I did the public, there's no more things here, so. All right, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson to approve the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forstner. Any more comments?
Yes, I have an item I want to pull.
Which one?
Number 4,
Number 4.
just for clarification.
Okay. All right, let's approve 1, 2, 3, down through 10. All right, the motion was, is that your motion to approve 1 through, with 4 holding out?
Yes.
All right. Do I hear a second? Second. Same thing. All right, let's vote on those. Motion carries unanimously. All right, Commissioner Oliver.
Yes, item number 4 is approval to terminate a utility easement for T-Mobile and Sprintcom development. It's my understanding, we received a letter from them to terminate that particular agreement. Was that?
Just the easement from T-Mobile, for some reason, they're fine with accessing the towers on another piece of property. We purchased the land next to it. It's gonna be a future pond when we widen McGuire Road. And they requested, working with the city engineer at the time, an easement on the side of the property to have another access, well, Sprint did. And now that T-Mobile has bought them, they've done their research and do not want the easement. There's a provision to get out of the easement, and they've executed that.
So they're
by
executing the
letter.
provision that was
Yes,
already put in the agreement?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are we obligated to give them back any security deposits or bonds or anything that they might have given us?
There was nothing.
I was reading that in the letter that they sent.
The document talks about if there are, but as part of that easement,
There
there
is
wasn't
not.
anything.
Okay, well, that
Yes,
answers
sir.
my question. Okay, thank you. So I make a motion that we add item 4 back.
Motion made by Commissioner Oliver to add number 4. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Forstner. No more comments. Let's vote. Motion carries unanimously.
So the motion was for him to approve 4?
Number 4. To approve number 4.
Okay, he said add 4.
We had added back into the agenda, right?
Yeah, we voted. All right. First reading of ordinances, public hearing. First reading of ordinance for Land Development Code, LDC amendment relating to self-storage facilities. Director of Services, Rumor.
This is the first reading. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending Article 5, Land Use and Density Regulations, Table 5-1, Permitted Use Regulations, amending Section 5-8, Use Regulations, providing for self-storage facilities as an accessory use, providing for visual limitations for self-storage facilities, providing for arterial frontage limitations for self-storage facilities, providing purpose and intent, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and effective date.
All right, this is not having, we don't have a public hearing, and after this will be back for the public second.
Yep.
Second reading, May the 3rd. All right, item number 12. Second reading of ordinance for budget amendment. Finance Director Roberts.
Good evening, sorry about that. As you've read, we brought this to you 2 weeks ago. We are looking for $650,000 in additional funding for the general fund. For miscellaneous, that will be offset by the $10 million of revenue that we are bringing in from the ARPA fund. So some of what we're asking for is bringing in the revenue and then placing the revenue or into the budget where we have asked you to do that. So we need an additional appropriation of $425,000 for a potential downtown property acquisition. We are going to add $2,866,971 to police salaries and $7,133,029 to fire salaries. These are the ARPA funds that we allocated for that purpose. For police operations, we need $70,000 for an unanticipated replacement of ballistic helmets. Street operations needs $25,000. This is going to cover the cost of landscape on Service Road 50. And fleet requires $130,000 primarily for parts and repairs to vehicle damage, and some of that will be offset by insurance recovery. The other portion of that is because of increased fuel costs, and we don't want to run out of funding for fuel, as fuel costs, as you know, have escalated so high. The Utilities Department's asking for $304,000 for an unanticipated replacement of a water line at Silver Star, increased costs associated with the water main at East Oakland, emergency replacements of the water bypass at the hospital, and emergency repair of a vac truck. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Just a quick comment. I think you transposed police and fire. Fire is 2.8 million in salaries and police is 7.1, just in case any of you were wondering why fire was higher than police.
You're correct, I did, I apologize.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments on this item? You got anything to read?
I do.
Oh, go ahead, let him read it, then we'll.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Orange County, Florida, relating to the city budget, amending the city budget adopted by ordinance 2021-051 for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, by providing for increase of appropriations, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, public hearing is open. Anybody have anything, comments on the budget amendment? All right, no comments. I'll close the public hearing, bring it back up to the dais. Anybody have any comments? Not?
I'll make a motion to
I
approve.
need the motion. Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to approve the second reading of ordinance for budget amendment. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Firstman. Any more comments? If not, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna back up to number 11. I gotta open the public hearing on first reading. We don't usually do that. I don't know how that is. I want to talk about it. Keep your hand down. All right, so we're gonna back it up. We'll open the public hearing for item number 11 for the land development code. Nobody got any comments? I'll close it and bring it back. So we've already moving on.
Yep.
We moved that May the 3rd. All right, item number 13, public hearing. Public hearing to award Lake Apopka Natural Gas District Franchise Agreement. City, I'm gonna let you need to read anything.
Nothing to read, but I'll kind of summarize the agreement.
Come on, you can come on up to the podium, then when he gets through, we'll let you guys. We'll open the public hearing and let y'all talk.
This is an agreement with Lake Apopka Natural Gas District to extend the term of the franchise agreement for an additional 10 years commencing September 3rd, 2020, which was the expiration of the prior agreement. This current agreement is essentially the same as the prior agreement, with the city receiving 6% of the gross revenue for sales of natural gas within the city of Ocoee. There is one additional provision that wasn't in the prior one, and that's the option for the city to extend for an additional 10 years in the event the city elects to do that towards the end of the term. All other provisions are relating, are substantially similar to the prior agreement with the company.
Okay, we'll go open the public hearing. We have the Lake Apopka representatives here tonight, so y'all go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Carol Barrissey. I'm the attorney for the Lake Apopka Natural Gas District. And we also have Monica Marlowe. She's the director of marketing. And we have Randy Cook, who is the construction coordinator, to respond to any questions that you might have.
All right, commissioners, now it's time to speak up. Anybody got any questions?
Do you, Apopka Gas, have any plans on expanding the service lines to residential areas inside the city limits?
Hi, good evening.
I didn't tell him that.
My name is Monica Marlowe. As Attorney Barrissey said, I am the Director of Marketing and Business Development. The way that our tariff reads is that when we expand lines, it must not do anything to our existing customers, burden them in any way. So every project is looked at, is it a feasible project? We get our costs from our construction, and then we look at what homes or solicit the neighborhood that's asking to tell us what appliances They will add on to gas if we bring the line, if it becomes a feasible project. Those appliances have an annual usage amount, and it's an estimate. And we use that, multiply that times our revenue, and we subtract that revenue that we will receive if we hook them up from the cost. And then sometimes it ends up, we get enough people that there is no cost to the residents for us to extend our line. Other times, they will have to pay some, what we call aid in construction. It means the amount that we're short in making that investment to the community. So that's how that works. Now, when we get brand new developments, we try to get them before they build a house. We are in touch with your planning offices to know what's coming, and we try to encourage that developer to put in gas. Those are easier for us to do and stuff because they're brand new. Nobody has to do anything to their home and stuff because they build it in when they're building the new building. So those are more simpler. The existing community is a little more challenging for any community to put in the gas lines. But that's how we do that and stuff, and look at those things to add more services into any community. Now, we, what was that, 19? COVID has taken some years from all of us. We came before the commissioners and you all approved for us to, or paid us basically, to bring the line from where it existed currently at that time was at the fire station and down Bluefer to get us all the way to Silverstone. It was a plan. There's been some changes since that money has come to us. We're in our construction coordinator, Randy Cook, he's in direct communication with Mr. Rumor about all of the changes to the plans and when they want us to do, where they want us to go. So that has, right now, we are currently, if you look at that map that is over there, it does show the outline of the city of Ocoee, the boundary of the city of Ocoee. And then the yellow and red and green lines on that map are our actual gas line and the communities that we are in, that we provide gas to.
All right, can I jump in?
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in now.
Okay.
I fought for years to get you guys out in downtown, and after we get you down here, you're not gonna run it to the house. All you're doing is run it down Main Street, run it to the businesses off the other side. And here it is, I'm 4 houses, I'm 200 feet from Blueford Avenue. For instance, with myself, I'm $207,000 is what you told me I got paid to hook it up to my house. $7,000. Now, how in the world, if we run it for citizens, can they do that? We can't do it. I can't do it.
Okay. Wait, like I said, when we do an existing community, we get the estimate, we take and we back out, you know, what revenue we will receive over a 7-year period. And that amount is deducted from the actual estimate of cost. Like I said, sometimes it ends up a wash and the citizens don't have to pay anything. Other times, they will have to pay what we term an aid in construction amount for us to bring the gas to their home.
All right. Here, I'm gonna finish what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I'll vote for it because of the sales tax. I said I wouldn't vote for it, but I am. But it just irritates me. Up on the years, 40, 50 years ago, you had it on the north side of town. And my father didn't pay a dime to have it run to the house. Because we didn't have a dime. That's back when we lived up there in the poor section and there wasn't no dime to be paid out. They didn't charge that. I was telling you a while ago, when the power line runs down these roads, they don't charge you to run it to your house. They charge it from that pole over to the thing when they hook it up. It's the same thing with Spectrum. So here we are, we've paid to have that gas line run. The reason I voted for it is because, and it was stated the night we originally did this, it was stated, I asked about that, running it to the houses. If we're not gonna run it to the houses, why we got it? There's where all the funds come in. You make your money. If we got 500 houses downtown, none of them people gonna get on it. They don't have the money. So there's nobody, in reality, gonna hook up except them people downtown. And that's only if, you seen a while ago, there's say 8 or 9 businesses down there. So all the people down my street which we live right by Blueford and cannot get on it. My house would be $7,000 if I want to start it. So
If
that to me
just
is-
you, if
is-
it was
is-
just you to hook up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Well, who
If it was
knows
just
when the
you.
others are gonna hook up? That's not what I voted for that for. But I will vote because I am the mayor and I am looking out for the sales tax that goes, but just think about the franchise tax I'm saying, wouldn't matter if we hooked all those places up.
Right.
You know, it just bogs my mind that that company would do that. That charter didn't change since they had that back in the 50s, 60s. I don't think that charter's changed. But they did not charge to hook up to the houses. And like I said, I don't have all night to talk about that. I appreciate it. I know, like Apopka gas, I'd love to have gas. I love natural gas. I love it. I was great at cooking on them, you know, but, and the heat, and the washer, and the dryer, and everything, but we don't get to get it. We just run a line down there and pay for $60,000 or $70,000 to you guys that we don't get to hook up to. So, that's my opinion, but I'll vote for the franchise tax, but I don't want to. But just think how much more money the citizens would get if we hooked up the houses to it. So, and Spectrum didn't charge me to run it to the front of my house. The phone company didn't do it, and the power company didn't do it, but Apopka Natural Gas is gonna charge us. So, okay, that's my preaching for tonight.
Can I ask a question?
Any other
yes.
questions?
I just have a question. This is for our attorney, just to make sure, this is just an extension of our contract agreement that we had, that we did not renew in 20, that's
Yeah.
now going for 10 more years. So the issue with where the gas is going is not really am I correct, related to this? This is just extending the.
Yeah, this is a new agreement, but it's essentially the same agreement that we had. It's a new agreement for an additional 10 years.
And I do remember us saying that the issue, we going down to Silver Star Road from the fire station, and that was very clear at the time, but I'm just confirming that this is what we're
Yes.
approving tonight.
Well, the franchise
We're doing the
agreement is different.
franchise.
Franchise agreement is
Franchise
different from
agreement.
that.
Right,
No,
that's what we,
I said
that's
that.
what we had going before.
No.
We're just, correct.
It was supposed to have been done back in 20, but we hadn't done it yet.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I just say COVID might have caused a lot of things, but
Cause a lot of things to be
But
determined.
people.
But I do
Commissioner,
understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm.
Your people in your district, which is there now, are the ones asking why we can't get the gas.
And I do
Right.
understand that, and I'm understanding what you're saying, and it's kind of a commitment, it looks like, between the neighbors. To, and hopefully, you know, I know where you are, that enough neighbors would want it, that it would be the ideal situation where it could reduce it to zero. You know, you look at it both ways, but I do understand that, and there are folks that use gas all their life and they wanna have it again.
And
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, just so you know, we have solicited where we were on Blueford across from the fire station, that house on the corner that Ms. Foote
Ms. Foots,
built.
yeah,
We extended the service from the fire station to her house.
yeah.
Okay? At the time, she told us that the neighbors on the street that goes around, that comes back out at Delaware, were interested.
They
So
were.
we sent information asking them to tell us if they were interested in converting. We basically got maybe 4 people
I
to say
talked-
they wanted the gas.
Yeah.
So
No,
it wasn't a feasible project for
Well,
us
it
to
won't.
extend that money and then wait on our money to get paid back to us.
A lot of people
Our
want to-
tariff requires that everything that we spend has to be a feasible project, and those monies have to be returned back to our coffers, within a 7-year period.
Well, I would tell you that I would bet out of all the houses, there probably maybe 30, 25 would sign up, but not to pay the upfront costs to run it down those roads. That's why they're not doing it.
Well, like I said.
I know, we don't
Yeah.
need to keep talking about it.
Oh,
All
yeah.
we're gonna do is talk about the franchise.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I just wanna say, it just, to me, if I had to go back again, I wouldn't vote to put it down the street, but that's beyond the point. So, but to get the and I looked, $6,000 to $8,000 a month.
money.
$6,000 to $8,000 a month franchise. Just think what it would be if we had the gas hooked up everybody.
Yeah.
Might be $80,000 a month.
Are the businesses,
They.
are they partaking it when it goes
We have
down?
3 businesses that we are currently in conversation with. The brewery that was here, the donut place, DQ, that's coming in, and, Bike Life.
And the guy that bought that building is probably gonna do the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, the whole building, because he's gonna put restaurant.
Yeah, because he's got
Yeah.
about, I think, 10 or
Okay.
12 slots in that building, so we've been in conversation with him. also.
And if you don't mind, I want to weigh in on this. I know we're here to talk about the franchise agreement. I think we're going to vote on that. But in this matter, on hooking up to natural gas, have you, or is it something that you normally do, is have more of a town hall meeting?
We can,
Yeah.
we have no problem doing that.
And then I think part of the problem is people may not be able to have Q&A. And when they don't have Q&A, they don't have an understanding.
Right,
So
and,
the-
and like I said,
Right.
the way we typically do it is like, if a neighborhood wants to talk to us, we will come to their homeowners association meeting or whatever they pull together and have us there, and we do that Q&A.
And I think if we could do that, I think they will have a better understanding, and they may be more apt to sign up, because now they know those costs are spread loaded over everyone.
Right.
And it could be, you
Right,
know,
that's how,
a zero-sum
not just for
game,
one person,
right?
unless that one person wants to pay for it.
Right, and
Right.
so I think that may help alleviate some of the stress of
Yeah.
hooking up or not hooking up to that gas line. But again, I agree with what the mayor's saying. I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have natural gas in my house. But people have been living without it for so long,
Right.
now they really want it.
Want it.
But now it's a matter of affordability.
Yeah, it's-
So let's do this. Let's figure out a way so we can have townhomes for the different communities that are available to be hooked up to that line. And that way, if people show up, then great, and then you can have
Q&A,
explanation,
we'll
and
answer
then
any
you
questions
can
they
tell them,
have
you
about
know,
how we do this.
if 63 of you guys sign up,
Right.
it would be zero sum, to your
Right.
checkbook.
And we had a community that started just in 19. It's not in Ocoee, but it's off of Conroe Windermere Road.
Right.
It's 125 homes in that community. Older community's 25 years old. They came to us. The difference with those homes though, is they're already on propane. So they didn't have to pipe their house. And an all-electric house, there's additional costs that
Right.
homeowner has to incur
Right.
in order to have gas in the house, unless they do outside stuff.
Right, and that's, again, that's part of the explanation that I think is a
Those
need.
kind of questions and
That's a need
stuff.
of
And
it.
like I said, we can certainly bring contractors with us to answer some of that piping cost,
Okay.
for
Well,
the inside of the house, because we don't pipe inside the house. We take care of everything up to the meter.
Okay.
Up to where?
The street
Up
side.
to the meter.
The street side,
The
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 outside.
streets, the outside, we take care of everything up to the meter.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and it appears it's mostly, a lot of it would be my district that would be, because it's Lafayette and, as you say, Delaware. That would be-
Delaware,
Yeah,
Lafayette, Cumberland,
Magnolia.
all those,
all
Magnolia.
those- Yeah,
They're all not gonna have it.
Yeah, and I think because, even though this,
yeah, you're right.
it's not what we're voting on, I think it's germane,
I mean-
to it, so I think we should.
You'd have to, if the poor guy said at the end of Cumberland, that comes off Washington Street, is one gonna be hurt, because if nobody in between, it's gonna cost him probably $50,000 to run the line to his house. It costs 200 feet for me for 7,000, it's gonna cost a bunch to run it to that other end. All right, we're gonna do the franchise thing. I'm not gonna vote against that, I don't like what this is, but I do like the franchise fee. Yeah, I'd rather it be where we had a lot more hook to it.
We would
I waited a
too,
long time to get
because
natural
the
gas.
more
back.
houses and businesses
Yeah.
we have hooked
Well-
to it, the more that we can provide you franchise fees and revenue for the
Yeah.
district.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner
Brinson.
Brinson. All right, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The bags that you have are just some of our promotional items that we gave the commission. We've also assigned, the staff can, give them away to people who come in and stuff to the building and stuff. But like I said, it lets them have our information if they want to call us and talk about getting gas. But like I said, we will, Commissioner Brinson, I will call your office and we will get something coordinated so we can have these meetings and stuff with the citizenship and stuff, where they can do a Q&A with us.
Do you have gas up at your house?
What's your
Well, you
community?
lucky though.
What community?
I live on the north end.
Okay.
I think Commissioner Wilson and I need to get together and
Yeah.
have a meeting with all the homeowners. This is mostly hers, I think.
Okay.
Some of it's probably yours too on the other side.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
appreciate
All right,
it, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Regular agenda, done. Comments from citizens and public. I don't have anybody, nobody signed up to say anything. Whoopee, we'll close that and come back up here. All right, comments from commissioners. Commissioner Brinson.
I'm up first. The challenge that I'm having this week is I found in my life that people sometimes minor in the major and they major in the minor, right? So they major on how someone looks and minor on how that person actually is. But right now, I think there's an assault on a lot of people in the state of Florida, specifically women and the women's choice to have a child or not have a child for various reasons. There was an attack on our schools where they was taking away monies from the educators if they didn't do or did do a certain thing. And then, of course, we have now some 50 some odd books that's being banned out of 132 books, but they won't let us know what those books are. We've got to weigh in on this. We can't allow people to start dictating these things without our knowledge, full knowledge of what really is going on. We can't minor in the major. We cannot minor in the major. We can't worry about how someone, what political party they're in, and then minor in what they're actually voting for and they're standing for. Because what you're finding yourself doing is voting against your own interests. We have to weigh in on this. The state of Florida we're going in a direction I don't think is good for the state of Florida. And so I think we need to weigh in. However it is you're gonna weigh in, however it is you're gonna vote, I do believe that people need to get out and weigh in on this matter. That's all I have.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, I just want to say kudos to Parks and Recreation. I went to the glow-in-the-dark egg hunt the other night and was very impressed with, I did not go for eggs. So I was not gonna, they didn't have a 60 and over section, so I was out of luck. But they did a really great job. It was, everyone there enjoyed it. It was very well organized, so kudos to Park and Recreation. I also went the next day to the actual egg hunt, which I don't know, that's a very interesting one because there's so many children that come to it and so many adults. But they did a great job putting it together and everyone I think had a great time. I know that the Observer has pictures on the internet that you can see some of the pictures of the kids that collected the eggs. So again, we have some wonderful programs going on in Ocoee, and that was one of them, and I was just impressed. So thank you to Parks and Recreation. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Commissioner first.
April is Autism Awareness Month, and autism is a very misunderstood disease. A lot of people misunderstand it or they misrepresent it. It's usually associated with behavioral problems, and children that have this, a lot of the times they're treated differently, where there's a spectrum for autism, and it goes from low to very high. And the people with autism, it doesn't affect their mental capabilities, it just creates behavioral problems for them. And the families that have to live with one of their members that have autism, it's very difficult. So I suggest that everybody look up on the internet, autism-society.org, and get familiar with that and see how you can help. It's something that I was made aware of. My wife is an elementary school special ed teacher, and she schooled me real good on autism. It's very misunderstood, and when you understand more about it, there are things that you can do to help. The fire department is holding an open house this Saturday down at the main fire station on Bluford Avenue. It will be from 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock. Come down, bring the family, bring all the kids. It's a lot of fun for the kids. You can have station tours and tours of the apparatus, and they'll even squirt some water with the kids and let them play with the hose like that. And there's free food, free games. Come on down. It's a lot of fun. And One Blood, the Bloodmobile, will be at the police station, which is located at 646 Ocoee Commerce Parkway. They'll be there this Thursday, April 21st, from 11 until 4 p.m. So come down, give blood, give the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you.
Commissioner Oliver?
Can you guys see me? Or barely? I'm so low to the ground. We got to do something about this chair because this is, I feel like I'm on the ground. You know, in the state of Florida, we are subject to natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, windstorms, hailstorms. We're subject to a lot of different disasters. And we have, our legislature actually does have, we have different laws and bills that actually cover us whenever we go through a state disaster or a national disaster that covers gouging. Things like gas. We don't have to worry about our gas going up too much, by $1, because we're dealing with a shortage because of that type of disaster. We don't have to worry about going to Home Depot and Lowe's to get lumber and wood and the prices go skyrocketing. Or we don't have to worry about going to Publix and picking up bottles of water for $20 and $30 because we have bills in place to protect us from those things. One of the things that we don't have protection from are those folks that rent apartments. In the state of Florida, apartment rentals in the midst of a pandemic has went up almost 100% in some places, 50 to 100% in some places, which is driving people out in the streets. So you have folks that are in the middle of a pandemic that may or may not be working, and then they find themselves in the streets because they can't afford their rent. And what happens is if we have these bills that protect us, the Floridians, from price gouging, the question is, why don't we have these type of bills that protect renters in our state and keep them off the streets? Because that poses another problem to society as a whole when we have more people on the streets, living on the streets. It's something, and the reason that I bring this up is because, again, in this political time, in this time of elections, I think it's important that we reach out to our elected officials or those actually going for office or those that are running for re-election or whatever they're running for, from congressional seats, Senate, state reps. Reach out to those folks and ask them why in the world can't the state of Florida regulate the rental rates for those citizens under the anti-gouging bills. It's something that we definitely need to look at because it happens. It's a reality. If you have not dealt with that or have seen anyone deal with that, then you're probably oblivious to it, and you probably don't even think about those kind of things. But think about the person that's sitting up at night in their car and because they've been driven out of their apartment because they can't work, they're in the middle of a pandemic, and they're sleeping in their cars, and they're trying to figure out, what am I going to do tomorrow? Or where am I going to go the next day? Can I find a job? Where do I go to get different services to help us to either find somewhere that's affordable to live? And anyone that lives in the state of Florida knows right now that the rental rates are astronomical. They are very, very high. My mortgage is lower than the rent rates, and that's a problem. That's problematic. So I ask that you just contact your elected officials, ask them to look into bills, anti-gouging bills that will help folks with their rent. Also, the lights and the sidewalk on Ingham Road is actually coming along very, very well. Everything looks great there. It looks really good, and I'm actually seeing folks actually walking on the part of the sidewalk that's complete. I don't think it's not completely done, but I believe they have just a few more feet to go, and we'll have a complete sidewalk and lights on Ingham Road. And you don't have to worry about hitting anyone riding down the road at night because it's well lit for us. Something we've been waiting on for a very long time. So kudos to our Parks and Rec and Commission and everyone that played a hand in making sure that happens. Clark Road project. Our Clark Road project, as you see the signs, is coming along very well. I've been getting a lot of phone calls and text messages, just people stopping me along the way asking, why is this project moving so slow? The project is actually moving along very well as far as what our responsibility as a city. Our city planner and our utilities department, they're working diligently on the things that we have to do as a city to make sure this happens. So be patient. It's coming. The signs are out. You may start seeing some movement in the next few months, but be patient. It is coming, and it's definitely going to help with the traffic along Clark Road. So continue to reach out to me, and I will continue to give you those updates as I receive them from the planning department. Matter of fact, I have a meeting scheduled in the next couple of weeks with them to get more of an overview about where we are, and I'll have more information in a few more weeks as to how close we are to some movement as far as some construction or vertical construction on the road. Anybody in here, you ever heard of a city called Edgewater? Anyone ever heard of a city? I think it's just south of downtown Orlando. It is a small city on Orange Avenue. You go right, Orange Avenue takes you right through Edgewater. And I've been through Edgewater a couple of times. It's just south of Soto. And that city is, one of the things that city is known for is they got speeding tickets. If you know anything about the city of Edgewater is, it's a place you don't speed through. Is it Bill Owl? It's on, say that second? Edgewood. Yeah, Edgewood. I'm sorry, Edgewood. Bill Owl. That area. It's actually on Orange Avenue, South Orange Avenue, as you go through there, and you don't speed through there. I've been through it several times, and again, I've seen the police officers there, and if you know anything about that area, the first thing most folks would tell you, don't speed through there. And the reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that every day we have issues on Ocoee Road, Clark Road. We have crashes all the time. And these traffic accidents are becoming something that we hear about every day. And the reason I bring up Edgewood is the fact that folks don't speed through there because they're known for giving out speeding tickets. That's something I wish that we would start doing, our police department, start giving out more speeding tickets. If we became synonymous with speeding tickets, some of the conversations we have about speed bumps or crashes, fatalities along our roads would probably be a thing of the past. So again, some of the things that we should start looking at is writing more tickets. And I would like to see that, because again, I just get a little disgusted from time to time when I see a text message showing that there's a car flipped over on Ocoee Road, or someone's injured, or a car going through a wall. It's just, you get tired of seeing that. And it makes me sick to my stomach to see folks speeding so much that they just don't care because they don't think they'll get a ticket. So that's something that we definitely want to start looking at. I'll jump off that soapbox. But I also want to give kudos to our Public Works Department, our first responders, our Parks and Rec. They did a wonderful job at the Ocoee Music Festival. I also went to the Easter egg extravaganza with Commissioner Wilson, and we had a great time there. But Parks and Rec did a wonderful job with that. And our first responders have been on the spot, have been on the scene at every event this past few weeks, and they have done a wonderful job. So kudos to you guys, especially Public Works. I'm getting a lot of calls concerning the road resurfacing, so kudos to you guys for that. And finally, I got a rhetorical question. Think about this. What happens when we unite? What happens when we set aside our appearances, our opinions, and our politics? What happens when we unite? Rhetorical question. What happens when we unite as a nation? Think about 9/11. What happens as a state when we think about Hurricane Andrew? What happens when we unite as a community? Think about our past music festival. What happens when we unite as a neighbor? What happens when you unite as a citizen? What happens when you unite as family? What happens when we unite as friends? Ask yourself, what happens when we unite? Thank you.
All righty. Just want to say thank you to Jason Mellon, who just got put on the Human Diversity Board tonight. Wave your hand, Jason. Jason's one of our new people for the Diversity Board. We appreciate you volunteering. You also volunteered for a lot of other things too. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And like I said, we had three other ones here tonight, so we have, how many tonight? You remember too, right? We got, let's see, we got 5 diversity members here tonight. Thank you. Also, the Music Fest was we moved the thing had to move it a couple of times. I think people thought we might not make it there, but it did. It was a wonderful thing on April. Turned out great. The good Lord responded with excellent weather, except a little windy, but that's better than rain. You know, you don't have to hold an umbrella. Of course, if you did, it blow away. It did the thing, but we had a lot of participation. I see where the West Orange paper thing had a thing in there, and Ms. Gustafson about how many people she talked to. It's over 7,000 verbal connections there during that function. So that was great, giving out the paper and talking to people. It was I think it was a great effort by all our staff. They start working, the board does, started in November, and it worked out. Our city workers, Rob, did an excellent job, everybody. We had police there, we had the first responders, fire department there, all the park recreation people, all the staff in the city just put out extra effort. And it was a packed house Friday night, not in trouble. Had one little thing on Friday night, and that was it. It was great. Saturday night was packed again, it was great. We had a lot of people making money off food trucks and stuff. They got to eat, and the craft shows and the art show, whatever it was, crafts and the little kiddie rides. So it turned out super. We had a great music for both nights. So we appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming out. I think we're gonna probably stick to April for a while if we can keep it there, and maybe see how we work with that for next year. The school traffic up on, I know all of you know where the pig trail is, but what's happened up there on South Street, those streets that are coming in the back way now to come into the school, and that South Street is one of those cut-through roads where everybody comes through there. So they're all rushing through, speeding through there, and they've asked, she sent me 2 notifications about wanting a speed bump. Did Steve leave? He probably did. South Street.
Spring Lake.
Spring Lake Elementary, because they're coming around through that little neighborhood, there's congested in there, and we have got to put something in there to slow the traffic down on that, because the kids are all walking through there also. It's a side street off of, not Doreen.
Is it Lady? It goes to.
Lady's the other one, no, it's the
It's,
side one, but it's where the people cut through to come up to the backside of the school.
Maybe Maureen.
Maureen?
No, it's.
I had to think about where.
Doreen is one.
Maybe we go over to the map and find it.
But one of the things is, Rob, we need to write it down and have Steve, I was gonna talk to Steve tonight, I guess he's gone, South Street, so.
See if we can get some speed information too, and if it warrants it.
Two of them would work there.
Yeah.
But they're coming out of all that old neighborhood, and
Okay.
there's a lot of children
Take a
walking
look at
through
that.
there. So that. we
Yeah, it
need
seems
to-
like every time we do something, it shifts to another street up there, so.
Can't
Yeah,
shift
no,
it too
but
many
that,
streets.
that's causing the children walking through there and all that. But the other thing is we have brand new lights downtown, and I've rode 2 weeks and watched to see if anybody said anything. We have the brand new light out, right down by the middle school. Not one soul has fixed it. I thought we told our police officers and everybody when they ride around to look for those things for our work, but it is dark, and it's the new light that's out. So somebody needs to ride around at night.
Are you talking on Blueford, Mayor?
Yeah, Blueford, right
Okay.
across by the middle school.
Okay.
The light's out. So I thought maybe somebody, but nobody's checked it. And while we talk about that, they need to also look at having those things electrical up next year for Christmas, for the lights for Christmas.
They're working on that.
Okay.
Yes.
So, let's see, what else? There's a young man that lives in Ocoee, and I'm gonna bring it, Justin Williams. He got recognized from the National Mike submarine deal for this, Jersey Mike's got recognized. He won, he's the #1 person for the Jersey Mike's for the United States. He's a senior at Foundation Academy. The young man has had he is an amazing thing when you think about his disabilities and things. He don't act like he has any disability. You would never know it. Matter of fact, he lives beside me, and he played basketball, and it's hard for him to hold a fork. I was telling somebody the other day, every morning at 6:30 or something, 6 o'clock, back for the last couple of years, he'd be dribbling the basketball outside my house in the morning. Every morning. And that young man, how he can dribble and play is amazing to me. So he won that overall thing for the whole United States. So I'm gonna try to have him come up maybe at the next meeting or something, and let's recognize him and bring him here. So if you get a chance, look it up in the paper. It was in there last week, I think, in the paper. So look him up and read about him. It's an amazing story there, that young man. He's been through a lot of operations, and he never complains or gripes about anything. So just wanted to say kudos to him and his family. All right, anybody else have any comments for him?
I just want to say one thing, I'm sorry, before you throw the gavel. Mayor, I want to thank you, because I know, I've been on years ago was on when it was Founder's Day on the committee, and it's a lot of work, and I know that you put a lot of time in there, and I want to thank you, because it is a lot of time that you put in besides what the city does, and thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you. Thank you. I will say that we were real lucky to get, after 2 years, to get it started back, and everybody participated. I think our sponsors all got on board and jumped in. We didn't have a few that we had before, but I think as it goes along, we'll get them again. So it was great, and I'm glad everybody showed up. I will say that I want to thank the city commissioners for their participation in helping us do that, because it wouldn't have been for the commissioners to vote for that thing to do, we couldn't do it. So it all starts up here with you guys and ladies. We appreciate it very much. So once again, our crew with the city is just super. And cleaned up, everything's great. Everything's
Excellent
good. And I hope everybody had a good time.
Yep.
So we'll kick it off and look what we do next year. All right, this, next meeting, Rob, do we need to talk about the July the 4th?
No, it was on the agenda, Mayor. We put it on as an
Yeah,
item.
we did, that's what I
On the
thought.
consent.
I didn't know if anybody wanted to
On the
discuss it or
consent,
not.
no.
But that's good. So, thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.